Good, y'all. It's time that we have an honest conversation about Jaron Boots Ennis. Let me start off by saying this. Boots is one of my favorite fighters. I've went on record saying that I think Boots can beat Terrence Bud Crawford, and I've said that Terrence Crawford ducked Boots. So with that being said, I want to answer the question that everybody has been having, and that is Jaron Boots Ennis ducking Brian Norman Jr.? So Brian Norman Jr. on Thursday, was it Wednesday? Yeah, Thursday, which is yesterday. He successfully knocked out that Japanese boxer. He went over to Japan, and I thought it was a red flag because this fight had no drug testing. But Brian Norman, he got the job done, gave the guy a brutal left hook. You know what I'm saying? And there's reports out there saying that this guy pretty much lost memory over that knockout, right? Great performance by Brian Norman Jr. Way to go to another country and get the job done, you know what I'm saying, and make it look easy. So we all want to see Boots versus Brian Norman Jr., right? Now, this fight could have already happened, right? After Boots beat Stanionis, Eddie Hearn has said that they reached out to Brian Norman Jr. for a fight, but they say Brian Norman Jr. turned the fight down because he wanted to fight this guy in Japan because they were offering him a lot of money, right? So prior to the fight even happening with Brian Norman and this Japanese dude, Boots announced that he's moving up to 154 pounds. Now, this makes absolutely no sense to me, and I'm saying this as a Boots fan because remember, Boots and Virgil Ortiz were in negotiations to fight at 154, and Boots turned down the fight because he wanted the fight to happen at 147. And he claimed that he did not want to move up to 154 yet, and he wanted to unify the 147-pound division, right? He wanted to get the belt from Brian Norman and get that belt from Mario Barrios and pretty much unify the division and then move up to 154 pounds. Okay, cool. So you just had this fight, right? You just had your fight. You did a good job. You got the job done. Brian Norman Jr. just had his fight. Now all of a sudden, you can't make 147 anymore. When you just said months ago that you wanted to unify 147. You haven't unified 147 yet. Now, everybody pointed out that in the weigh-in with Stanionis, everybody was pointing out how Boots looked, he looked depleted. He looked very skinny. He looked like Michael Jackson from Thriller. But at the end of the day, he made weight. It's not like he missed weight. We've seen plenty of boxers look like that when they do weigh-ins, right? He made the weight, got the job done, made Stanionis his corner, throwing the towel, and he won the fight. So, in my opinion, Boots moving up to 154 is indeed a duck. I do believe he's ducking Brian Norman Jr. Because I just don't understand, like, if you said your plan was to unify 147, be a man of your word. Unify 147. Now, if Boots would have missed weight when he weighed in for his fight against Stanionis, okay, you can't make the weight anymore. But you made the weight. You had one of the greatest performances of your career, if not the best performance of your career, and you can still make 147. Like, this is kind of like Keyshawn Davis saying he can't make 135 anymore when he was just, challenging Abdullah Mason, who's at 135. Now, all of a sudden, you can't make 135. You got to move to 140. This is duck talk, bro. We just got to call it what it is. I still believe Boots would beat Brian Norman Jr. Now, listen, there's a lot of people riding this Brian Norman Jr. They're riding this coattail right now. But I saw his fight against Santillan. Brian Norman got hit a lot in that fight. He was standing in the middle of the ring. At one point, he was standing up on the ropes. He was getting hit with a lot of shots, bro. He was getting hit in the face. He was getting hit to the body, right? Santillan gave Brian Norman Jr. a tough fight. Now, Brian Norman Jr. did indeed end up getting the KO, but let's be honest, guys. If Brian Norman Jr. gets hit with those same punches from a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis, do you think he's still going to stand up? Because some of those punches was hurting Brian Norman Jr. Go back and watch the fight. To all of the people that's riding Brian Norman Jr.'s wave right now, which you should because he had a beautiful KO in Japan, go watch his fight with Santillan and tell me what you think. He got hit way too much. He does not utilize moving around the ring. He has bad footwork when it comes to being in the ring and moving around. He doesn't move his head a lot. He gets hit with a lot of punches, right? Like I said, if Boots hits him with those same punches, he's going to sleep, bro. I can guarantee you that, right? Now, we have to also give Brian Norman credit as well. He obviously has punching power, and we've seen Boots get hit a lot, right? Like, people bring up the 2 fights that he had with Karen. He got hit a lot in those 2 fights, right? But when you look at his latest performance against Stanionis, he did some improving on his defense. You know what I'm saying? Fact of the matter is this, guys. I want to see this fight. I believe that this Boots and Brian Norman Jr. fight, this is the new Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight, in my opinion. Now, obviously, these 2 guys aren't as accomplished as Terrence Crawford or Errol, right? Obviously, Terrence Crawford unified 140 and 147. Obviously, Errol Spence, he had all of the belts except for 1, right? So obviously, those guys, they're not necessarily on those guys' level. But what I'm saying is, it's one of those fights where it seems as if it's 50-50. It seems as if any boxer can win the fight, you know, and it's really just a matter of who shows up to get the job done. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I still would pick Boots to win this fight, but it seems to me like Boots, like bro, like this is 2 people that Boots has ducked now, y'all. We gotta be honest. He ducked Virgil Ortiz, had a good excuse, said he was unifying 147. Now he's reneging on his word because he promised Brian Norman that they would make the fight. He promised Brian Norman that they would make the fight after Brian Norman did his fight in Japan, and now all of a sudden you're moving up to 154. Now, my question to you guys is, who is going to be Boots' first fight at 154? Because if his first fight is not Bakram or Virgil Ortiz, then I'm not interested. I'm not interested. If his first fight is not Bakram, Virgil Ortiz, or somebody like Israel Majamov, I'm not interested in seeing this. I'm not interested. If he fights some dude that nobody really knows about at 154, he's wasting all of our time. Let's just call it what it is. Boots is ducking, bro. You know? And I just think Boots is too talented. He's in his prime to not be giving us the fights that we want to see. His first fight better be Virgil, Bakram, or Majamov at 154. Or else I'm just not going to watch his next fight, bro. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that Boots is ducking Brian Norman Jr.? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Wavy. I'm out.